U.S. Democratic presidential candidate Barack Obama is set to appear for the first time with his new vice presidential candidate, announced today, Delaware Senator Joseph Biden. This is a live shot. The two are holding an event at the old state capitol building in Springfield, Illinois, where you can see thousands have already gathered and are waiting for this to get underway. We are expecting speeches from both Obama and Biden at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. That is just a few minutes away. As we wait for that, we are joined in Washington by Solon Simmons, who is with George Mason University. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Simmons.
Thanks for having me.
So what do you think? You say Obama choosing Senator Joe Biden as a running mate, not a surprise?
Not really. I think many people had already, by the time this was released, and it was meant to have a great suspenseful release, had figured out already who it was going to be. Leading up to this for several days, people have been talking about Joe Biden. So in some ways, in the vernacular, we might say it's been priced into the political market. Many of the changes that might happen have already moved around this. This is not a game changer. Some of us were wondering about Hillary Clinton, the dream ticket, the fabled dream ticket, and how that might change things, how that might actually throw some new energy in the race. Biden doesn't exactly throw energy into the race, but what he does is he acts as a kind of collateral for Barack Obama. He's a very stable figure, well-known, been 3 decades in the Beltway, and so it's not something that we might have imagined would be all that surprising.
All right, I'll ask you about Hillary Clinton in a moment. Why not her? But tell us first about Joe Biden. He's a, what, 6-term senator, 67 years old?
I think it's more like 62 years old, but he's in his 60s. He's been over 3 decades in the Senate. Has had important leadership positions there and on judiciary and foreign policy. He knows the world. He's a Beltway insider, which is a bit of an issue for the change message that Obama has. But he has enough change, let's say, in his own biography that he might not need any more of that. And he needs to assure a certain kind of voter that he's okay, that he's going to be stable, that he's even-keeled. And Biden really helps him to do that, because although he has, let's call it a verbal style, which can get him into trouble, he's also extremely knowledgeable and in that way very safe.
A verbal style. You're so diplomatic.
Well, he's been called a gaffe machine, and it's not my language, but I think it's a little harsh to say that of Biden, because he speaks so much. Think about a senator around for that long. You're going to say a few things that people will remember. But you know why he's a gaffe machine? Yeah. Because he speaks in a language that ordinary people understand, and that's going to be crucial for Obama, because Obama does not. That is, Obama seems a little bit aloof. He seems a little better than the rest of us to people who, in places like Ohio and Pennsylvania, that he needs to win, Virginia too. And so Biden could help in that respect as well, to get him in the cultural style of the average voter. Yeah,
so he really relates to that working class that, as you suggest, Obama's really had a problem relating to and garnering some of that support.
He is having, yeah, there are a couple demographics here that he's going to help with: older voters, Catholics, the white working class. You know, when you ask people, what is it you like about the Democrats or the Democratic candidate, they tend to tell you that I like them because they stick up for the common man or the little guy. Well, Obama doesn't feel like that candidate, and this has been true from the 50s to now. That's the Democratic Party brand. But the candidates are afraid to run on that, because they themselves are they're implicated in the power system of Washington. They have money themselves, so they're vulnerable to the critique that, well, you've got a $400 haircut. How can you know what my problems are? And so that class message is something that Biden has been able to finesse, even though he's been here forever.
Okay, now Hillary Clinton, on the other side, she never had that issue, right? She connected very well with the working class. So let me ask you, I mean, why not? Why wasn't she a serious contender?
Well, it's a great question, and I'll be frank, I thought in the last few days he was going to break for Clinton. I mean, there was all this talk, she hadn't been vetted, she wasn't on the list, and yet you knew that if Obama brought Clinton in, something was going to change, something big. And I think it suggests that the Obama campaign is more confident than we think, although the polls have closed quite a bit now. It's neck and neck, whereas it once was in Obama's campaign to lose. Now it's close. But I think that they have confidence in their message, they have confidence in the fact that they have more money, they have the ability to saturate the media markets, and they can also run with Biden and use him in strategic settings. And if they use him, he's going to be really effective. John Kerry did not use John Edwards last time around, who also would have appealed to this same demographic. And so I think that Hillary was a person who could do that, but had liabilities as well. And the liabilities, I think, are well known, Bill Clinton being among them, as well as...
And Solon, we're just, as we're speaking to you, we're going to interrupt you just for a moment. We're going to rejoin you, but obviously Barack Obama now getting set to take the stage. This is outside of the old state capitol building in Springfield, Illinois. And Barack Obama, of course, announcing today his pick for Vice President, Senator Joseph Biden, a Delaware Democrat. And shortly, we're going to be listening into what Barack Obama has to say. And we're not quite sure how long this is going to take, but Solon, do you want to take a guess at what this speech might be like? What's he going to say?
Well, he's going to give us many things that we expect. They're going to, I imagine they'll talk a little bit about America's standing in the world. What I'd be looking for is the issue, if they discuss the economy and how they do it, because the economy is right at the top of voters' lists, and Obama has had trouble getting a story that has traction with the American people. So we'll see if that plays a role. Barack
Obama now addressing the crowd. All right, so we've been listening in to the man who is Barack Obama's running mate for vice president, Delaware Democrat and veteran U.S. Senator Joe Biden. And here you can see the wives of both Senator Biden and Barack Obama coming up on stage. So it was interesting listening in, if you've been joining us, to some of what U.S. Senator Joe Biden had to say, saying that he and Barack Obama may come from different places, but saying they share a common story, pointing out Barack Obama was raised by a single mother, and Senator Joe Biden referring to his own Irish Catholic working class upbringing. Joining us to discuss some of what we heard in both U.S. Senator Joe Biden's speech and Barack Obama's speech a short time ago. Let's go back and rejoin Solon Simmons with George Mason University. Solon, what did you make of some of what, first, I guess, U.S. Senator Joe Biden had to say, and how he effectively, gave, I guess, somewhat of an inspirational speech, saying, look, this great American dream, it's slipping away, it's broken. Barack Obama and I are the team to bring it back to you.
Yeah, I think this was a good set of speeches, and I think that they really decided to use Joe Biden. I was waiting for that economic message. I was waiting to see how they played the populism, and they went all the way. You know, one way you could use Joe Biden is to say, look, we're going to have a foreign policy that's going to work. We're going to project American power in the world in a way that's going to bring people back to America and have them embrace us. And they did a little of that, but they did more of the populist domestic issues. Joe Biden getting a cut on on how many houses John McCain has, which is right where we are, and is the kind of negative campaigning that Barack Obama has not wanted to do. How personal these stories were as well. I thought the introduction that Barack Obama gave to Joe Biden was extremely compelling and shows us how important a good narrative, a good biographical narrative is for a candidate as well.
Yeah, and
there seemed to be pretty good chemistry.
Let's pick it up there, because you were saying that essentially, you could have introduced him as Biden, the current chair of the Senate's Foreign Relations Committee, as someone who sort of plugs this hole for Barack Obama where he's weak. But instead, we hear this message of, Joe Biden's sense of character. That's why Obama says he chose him.
That's true, and this goes back to how this campaign has been playing out already, that so much of it is personal. And the Democrats, I think, realize that one's public values and one's personal values are not separate things, as much as that on the left is something that people like to separate. That's not how Americans in general see things. They see the personal and the public values as quite a bit and as overlapping, and that was emphasized here. And as you say, foreign policy is really why. I mean, to think about what it is that Obama doesn't have. He doesn't have beltway experience. He doesn't have foreign policy knowledge. And what he's able to do is bring this character in who can support him in those ways. But what Biden does is he talks about domestic issues, and he talks about fighting for your children's future. So and I think that's what Joe Biden can do well, as I said, that Obama has trouble doing. And so it looks to me as if they're actually going to use him in the way he's going to benefit the campaign. Okay,
and just quickly before I interrupted you, you were talking about chemistry, or you wanted to make a point about chemistry, I think?
Well, I think, you need good chemistry. One of the things that you want is you want people who look like they like each other. You want people who look like they work well together. And I think they do. There's a little bit, I was watching to see if the older Joe Biden in some ways overshadowed Barack Obama. And I don't think it happened. I think there was a little bit of, they're going to still work a little, that needs to be worked out a bit, I think, because there is a sense, sometimes you think, well, why not Joe Biden if he's going to fight for these things? So they're going to iron that out. But it seemed to be a pretty good mix as far as I could tell.
All right, Solon Simmons with George Mason University. Appreciate you joining us.
Okay, thanks for having me.
And